It's been busy, but good. I was so sad to miss the webinar that you guys just did. I wanted to see that. I'm missing out on all the extra fun.
Well, on the bright side, we were live on YouTube during it, so the recording will live there forever. And we're live on YouTube for this now. Woo!
My world. That's awesome. I love it. Oh, all right. Northern Lights. We can do Tweet Aurora project. I love Aurorasaurus.
Oh, it's such a cool project.
And kids love it too. I wish more kids could see the Northern Lights, because I think some just have never seen them, but it is neat.
All right. Hey everyone, as you come on in, please introduce yourself in the chat. Say, where you're calling in from, your zip code if possible, so we can keep track of who we're reaching. Maybe something you're excited to learn about in this presentation, or if you have a question for Jill, feel free to ask that in the chat as well. We're so grateful you're here, and we're going to do our best to get this and all the other previous webinar recordings for Jill's awesome education webinars on Thursdays up in a blog post. I know a few of you have emailed me about that, so please just hang tight. We'll get that out there. And this particular one is live on YouTube right now, so you won't have any delay in accessing the recording for this after the fact. So please introduce yourself in the chat. We're so excited you're here.
Yeah, welcome everybody. And thank goodness for Caroline, because I wouldn't know how to broadcast on YouTube. So thank goodness for Caroline.
All right. Well, Jill, I think we're right at 8 o'clock, so we can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
Oh, perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So so we can't wait to get started. Today, we're going to chat about Earth Day and Arbor Day projects, especially thinking about those citizen science ideas for your remote and distributed learners, all of our new normal. Oh, hi, Allison. Welcome. I've known Allison for a long time. Awesome. So yeah, we'll focus on this topic tonight, but of course, if people have questions, suggestions, we welcome that. And so if anyone's new to citizen science, I don't think in this group they are. I think we've got a lot of citizen science experts, but citizen science, science for all, it invites public participation in science. It really provides a unique opportunity to engage our diverse learners in the active process of science and help integrate the science and engineering practices of the NGSS. So we love that. So as you guys know, April is Citizen Science Month all month. We hope to keep this going, right? It can be part of our everyday life, science for life. So of course, we're hosting our weekly educator webinars every Thursday. We've got one more next week after this. We cover different themes every week. And so tonight I'll share a Google Doc right there in the chat pod in our room with all of the links and resources that we cover tonight, plus additional ones. So no stress, you don't have to take notes or just relax with your favorite beverage. This is all fun. So I'll pop that in the chat pod before we wrap tonight. And feel free to comment, share throughout. We love when the chat pod is hopping. Don't be shy. We love to crowdsource ideas. So if you've got great ideas, we'd love to have you share them. So next slide. Yeah, so again, welcome, and feel free with some great introductions. Feel free also share how you celebrated Earth Day, or maybe how some of your learners celebrated Earth Day. We would love to hear it. Of course, I was stuck at home. I think it's probably a common experience for all of us now. And so I've got a bunch of milkweed out back. So I was running outside, checking on my monarch caterpillars, and I was so excited for Earth Day. Some of them went into chrysalis form. I've got two that are forming into the chrysalis right now. They're hanging in their J formation under my back porch table, but some actually went into the beautiful green chrysalis form for Earth Day. So that was kind of my main celebration, just taking care of the milkweed and the caterpillars and having a reduced carbon footprint because I didn't go anywhere. So feel free to share if you've got any. So my name is Jill Nugent. I think most of you guys have been to these before, so I won't, I know most of you guys and you know me, and Caroline does amazing stuff with SciStarter. We're so grateful that she's here with us. So next slide. Yeah, so this is a review for a lot of you guys. Citizen Science Month. This is your one-stop shop. Lots of resources. Takes place all April. Of course, we hope we continue it, May, June, beyond. And it's an opportunity for everybody, formal and informal science educators, families, individuals, community groups to join in and contribute to real world science. So we're excited today. We'll share Arbor Day, Earth Day projects that focus on home, online projects you can do right outside your home, so that everybody can stay healthy, stay home, maintain that social distancing. We're all becoming pros at that, and to help keep flattening the curve. So next slide. And then SciStarter posts monthly calendars, which are, and Erica on the SciStarter team, she does those. They're so visually appealing and they're so helpful because for educators, it kind of helps you plan your month. A lot of times you can say, oh my gosh, it's water quality day. Let's do, the Earth Echo Water Challenge. So this is the one that's on the website now for Citizen Science Month. So just a great resource to check out. But they're live every month. So look forward to May. Next slide. And of course, I love this page, the project finder, even the advanced project finder, because this is the intro one, and you can also go for the fleshed out advanced. Such a great place to start. It's basically match.com for science. Match yourself with the perfect project for you, your classroom. There's thousands of citizen science projects in there across the globe, ranging from astronomy to zoology, everything in between, literally. So with that tool, you can search for and discover citizen science projects from around the world with the SciStarter Project Finder. And so SciStarter is here it serves to connect people with citizen science projects, opportunities, and invite everybody around the world to get involved in a safe celebration of science during April's Global Citizen Science Month and beyond. Next slide. I love this picture. So there were 2 Earth Day blogs on SciStarter this week. One blog was posted yesterday, and it invited everybody to study the outdoors virtually. And so this is a picture from a camera trap, sometimes called a cam trap, from the project Snapshot Safari. I love this picture. So beautiful. And it's from a camera trap. So the animals, that mammal, the zebra, the mammal's movement triggered the camera to take a picture, but it's stunning. Some of the pictures are just amazing. So this is a great way to study global wildlife right on your computer, or have your children or students do that. Beautiful images and real world science. So that blog yesterday for Earth Day, participating in the outdoors virtually, it also mentions bird cams, such as the Bird Cam Lab from Cornell, and much more. So this is a way for, any time throughout the year, you can engage in real world science, studying global wildlife, and about Earth Day bonus, super low carbon footprint, which we always like that. Next slide. So here's our 2 kind of main events that are guiding our theme for today. Of course, Earth Day was yesterday, April 22. And then Arbor Day is, does anyone know? We could have some guesses.
I'll let people go in the chat first. I have my guess. Yeah, put in the chat. When do you think Arbor Day is? Is it Friday? It's Friday, right?
It is. You're right. Yes. I wish we're in the same room. I could throw you a prize. Yes. Yep. So Arbor Day is on April 24th. And so today the 2 events have kind of bookended us. Earth Day yesterday, Arbor Day tomorrow. But of course, with citizen science, we can celebrate, trees, Earth Day every day. So that's really exciting. So next slide. Oh, we got Timothy. I'm going to throw you. I wish I could throw you a piece of candy too. You got it right too. Nice. So I thought I would mention, talking about Earth Day, it happened yesterday, the Earth Challenge 2020 has launched. And so this kind of came about as part of earlier discussions about a goal to engage 1 billion global citizens by 2020. I mean, that's amazing. I'm in. That sounds so cool. So that's kind of how the idea started. And so with the 50th anniversary of Earth Day taking place this year, it celebrated its birthday yesterday. Thinking about the 50th, that's like a major milestone. For folks to really engage and take action, it was thought that citizen science could be a great way to take action on the sustainable development goals, AKA the global goals. And so Earth Challenge was kind of designed with this in mind, and specific topics and research questions were developed. So basically this year, they have a couple of the research questions available. They've developed some apps that people can use, and it's actually going to grow from here because of course it's going to take time to engage 1 billion global citizens. So just sharing that. Oh, and Linda, thanks for your comment. Yeah, for planting trees. Yeah, and actually on the Arbor Day site, which will be in the Google Doc, there's some neat like ideas for people, because I think they acknowledge, like, you know, it's a different world right now, so ways to participate from home. So that's kind of neat. Next slide. Yeah, so the Earth Challenge, they've created right now 2 mobile applications. The ultimate goal was 6 around some main research themes. Right now, the top 2 have been created. There's a mobile application to collect observations of local air quality and plastic pollution. So the top 2 have apps. Then in June, they're hoping to have the insect population. So kind of the bottom right, how our sorry, the text is so small, how our insect population is changing. That should be opened up in June, and that goal is to collect more data on insect populations and other critical environmental indicators. So the whole kind of idea is celebrate Earth Day's 50th year, integrate citizen science with the global goals, and engage 1 billion plus global citizens in citizen science. Next slide. Yeah, so I really wanted to show the next 2 slides for you guys. So air and plastics are the ones that are up. So with air quality, that question, I was really excited to see that the education materials were ready as well. So there is the app, and then the education page is up with some activities for your learners. And so even if you're not, you know, having the students do the app-based question, maybe you're doing another citizen science project, because there's a lot that connect to these topics. You can still access the activities that they've posted, the lesson plan. So this is the page for air quality. And then next slide. And this is a page for plastic. So I love that one. Only jellies in the belly. They have a couple of lesson plans to support the plastics citizen science research questions. So lots of options. Oh, Catherine, thanks for your question. So I'm going to pop in a Google Doc link with all of the links that we'll talk about today. And I'll pop that in towards the end of the webinar, right in the chat pod. So no worries to like be scribbling or searching. You can totally like, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll be sure and share that. Sorry, yeah, it's kind of confusing. Great question. Yeah, so next slide. So kind of following up with the plastics, of course, that's one of the research questions that they have launched. But I love when I meet with educators, I'm falling in love with this project. It's debris tracker. You'll often hear it called marine debris tracker, or MDT, marine debris tracker was its earliest name, but they're going to convert it. They either are or are they're kind of in the process of just calling it debris tracker in a nutshell. So this is a really exciting project. It's associated now with the University of Georgia, which they also have been associated with like a cyano tracker project and some other. It's neat to see some of the universities that have clusters of really cool projects. So this is with UGA. I've really I love this because I think when we talk with our learners of all ages, the headlines about global plastic pollution are overwhelming, they're daunting. I find some of them sad and depressing, but I love this project because it's all about taking action, building awareness, taking action. And so for our learners, our young learners, really all of them, it's very empowering when they have that step, like, especially you guys know, like Linda, you taught middle school for so many years. You know, the middle schoolers, they care about this earth. They're like, how can I solve that problem? So that taking action component is so powerful. And so this project is an upstream solution to ocean plastic pollution. They've found that this is so sad, 8 million metric tons of plastic, which I can't even wrap my brain around, like that volume, that much is entering the ocean each year. And so what Debris Tracker wants all of us to help with are preventing it from even going into our oceans and our waterways. So even though I don't live, right on an ocean, I live by creeks and rivers, so I can make a difference in that way as well. So the app was created with the help of NOAA, and you track trash near you, building awareness and action. Yeah, they're so passionate. Oh, I love that, about making positive change in the world. Exactly. I love that. Next slide. So this is the project on SciStarter's page. So it kind of goes over the goal. I think the logo they use is beautiful too, the art. I just love it. I don't know who created it, but I love their logo. So it gives you kind of an at-a-glance view of the project. And it's basically, once you have the app, you're ready to go. And then on the next, we can go to the next slide. This is the one I wanted to show you. So SciStarter's educator pages, or education page, it has a lot of select citizen science projects that learners can do from home in these unprecedented times. Debris Tracker is one of those projects that's on that page. So this is the at-a-glance education page. I love it. It's got the video up front. It kind of hits all the frequently asked questions, what you need to know, bullet points. I always love, I remember coordinating labs and like the materials. So I always love when like materials are up front. What do I need? Keep me organized. Other resources. And Peg, who's on the SciStarter education team, she's amazing. She's also a Nat Geo educator. She's creating a lot of support resources, lesson plans, videos. She even has a cool mapping video. And so she's added additional resources. There's links on this page. So just great educator creative materials for you guys to use, for anyone to use. So next slide. So that's a great project, Debris Tracker. And I couldn't mention Earth Day without talking about one of the themes this year was climate action for Earth Day 2020. And of course, we wouldn't want to just take action on one day. So it's ongoing, but also Global Goal 13, that's the green box from the United Nations Global Goals, SDGs. Global Goal 13 actually is climate action. And so what I thought I would share with you guys, something that I found kind of fun. When the first time I did it, I don't think I knew what to expect. Sometimes you just do an activity and you don't know how it's going to be received by your class. But one thing that I found pretty powerful, it looks different ways with different ages and audiences, but one thing you can do with your students, explore the SciStarter project finder. For example, if we're going to tackle climate, so you can explore the project finder, search for climate projects of interest, like for your age group, things like that. So kind of you'll find a handful because there's a lot of them. And then go to the UN Global Goals, which in your Google Doc I'll give you, you'll have a link. And then in there's so much information on that website, but you can see the targets for each global goal. So there's targets to achieve by 2030, which is only 10 years away, for SDG 13, climate action. And for older students, I've made it very constructivist where they're a part of this. Like they're looking at projects, they're looking at the targets of the global goal. And then here's kind of the matching part, have them really explore and see how engaging in the selected citizen science project or projects can address specific targets of that global goal. It's such a great, it's a really neat activity. you can adapt it for your grade level or audience. So like the younger students, I'd probably select the project already. Like, you know, that the project you pulled is going to be a good fit with, you know, certain targets, but they can still be a part of it. And then it's really empowering for them to take action again, kind of like we talked about. And so in your Google Doc, I've also added the world's largest lesson. That's a teacher site, a teacher created resource site with lessons addressing the global goals. So there's a huge repository of great stuff in there. So the links will have extra connections, but that's just an idea that may be of interest. So next slide. And I just wanted to mention in this project finder, I found this the other day. There's always new projects being added, which is like, it's like having I just love it. It's always so fun. This is a new project that's been added, and it's Tidepool Citizen Science. And it connects to the climate action topic as well. It actually connects to a lot of things in science, but this was a neat one. So even if like you did the activity last year, check back with the project finder, because like this was a neat surprise for me recently. A new one was added from the amazing folks at Ocean Sanctuaries. Oh, I know, Linda, great point. How far? Yep, how far we have to go. That's why I think I have such hope with the citizen science and so many people engaging. That like gives me that hope, like if we get everyone involved, because I think with the global goals, in fact, we can go to the next slide because I have a picture of the global goals, all of them, so it gives a visual. I love the colors. I feel like if we just leave it to the people at the UN and a couple of their contacts and NGOs and staff members, that's only a few people working on these really hard issues and topics. But I feel like I love the educator community, because I feel like if we engage our students in taking real world action on some of this, that we really could make a difference, move that dial. So yeah, here they are, the United Nations global goals. You may have heard there were like the Millennium Goals previously. So these were the goals that were drawn up to be, hopefully, the targets will be addressed by 2030. However, if you read some of the targets, you know, we like Linda says, we have a long way to go. But if you look at this, how many of you guys, and there's not an exact answer, I'm just opening it up. What do you guys think? How many of these relate to science? There's so many great connections to our—
I mean, depending on how you interpret it, I think all of them do.
Right? I know, so many, right? I know, because even like someone mentioned once, zero hunger, we may not think it's science, but then when you think about sustainable agriculture and looking at our food system, it's like, oh my gosh, it actually could. Yeah, so over half, like at a glance, we could say definitely. Yeah, so that's why it's great, you know, talking about science and teaching science. Your social studies teacher will also love you for incorporating this, because I know it's part of a lot of the curriculum right now in social studies. But yeah, just another connection. That's why we love science so much. Science touches math, everything. But I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know that. So what I've done in fact, I'm going to pop that Google Doc, because I don't want people to think, where is that Google Doc? Let me pop it in. So what I've done, just as an example, in the Google Doc, I added example citizen science projects for, okay, look at Global Goal 6, that's all about water. Global Goal 14 is all about life below water, so like fish, marine mammals, etc., coral. And then Global Goal 15, the green one, life on land, so all the biodiversity, forests, critters on land. What I did as part of the Google Doc, it's kind of close to the bottom, but I pulled resources for Global Goal 6, 14, and 15, just to give an example of some things that you may want to discuss with learners or share. So it kind of has the link to the goal, what it's about, a little video clip that introduces it. The ocean one, the guy who does life below water, it's really good. That was a really good clip that he did. And so you can use those. And then I popped some links to citizen science projects that relate to that goal. And of course, there's many others. It was just kind of just to kind of give some ideas. So another activity you can do, and probably for, for some of the students, climate is like, certain ages that's above their head. It's a little abstract. But definitely like life on land, that's a more concrete, or the water, that works really well for like an introductory. So just as an example, that's in there. Next slide. So this is really exciting. Earth School has just been launched. The UN was part of this as well. This is hot off the press because it's Earth Day to World Environment Day. So yesterday to June 5th, this has been launched. It's really, really exciting, and it's going to involve quests for our learners who are at home during this time to engage in. The problem that they wanted to address, and it's a very collaborative groups, and Caroline knows a bit more, but SciStarter will be involved, the Nat Geo Ed team, lots. And I've got the website link for you guys. They wanted to address the problem or the challenge that today, right now, 1.5 billion learners, children, are unable to go to school. So that's unprecedented. So the Earth School was created. It's consisting of 30 adventures for learners of all ages to discover, celebrate, and connect to nature. So it kicked off yesterday on Earth Day, April 22nd, and it's going to conclude perfectly, right, kind of towards the end of the quote unquote school year, June 5th, give or take. I know, districts differ when they wrap up the year, but it's a nice time because it's enough time to get into it, but it's short where it's not, 6 months. So it's comprised of daily adventures they're calling quests, and each are organized around a theme, the nature of blank. So it's really exciting. It's designed to encourage our young learners to connect with nature and their environment in a safe way. It's going to cover, I love this because it's going to cover real world concepts like the t-shirts that we wear, like fast fashion. I know when I've shared that with students, how fast fashion takes place, we've shown some documentaries. It is eye-opening. They don't realize that supply chain of some of the, very inexpensive clothes that they're ordering, or so real world concepts like that. The water we drink will be covered, the trees in our forests, food on our plates. Each of the quests are going to consist of a discovery video, a fun short quiz, series of interactive resources. There will be content to watch, read, do, share, teach. There will be age-adjusted exercises built into each lesson. So just wanted to share this new hot off the press resource that's coming. And again, it was launched with people who know education, and it was launched specifically for the current situation that we're all in. They wanted to aggregate good environmental lessons by organizations and people that are familiar with what that means, have it one-stop shop online, open access for all. And then of course, to address that our learners are, they're increasingly inside, which is good. They're staying safe, but this will give student learners time to connect with nature in a safe way, because that's so impactful for many things. And then the third was to also help parents everywhere who aren't educators take action along with their kids, but also have easy access to clear resources, designed by folks who know how to create these resources. They're effective. So anyway, this is just another resource that it's just hot off the press, and I'm really excited about it. And, kids love challenges like quests, so good stuff. Next slide. And then tomorrow, of course, Friday the 24th is Arbor Day. What we know from the National Academies of Science publication, and Darlene from SciStarter was part of that group, experts all over, they really looked at what makes a citizen science project really effective for good science learning. It was the citizen science projects that were developed both with education and science in mind when they were developed. So the NASA, and GO just stands for Globe Observer. They have a whole suite of projects. This is their tree project that'd be perfect for Earth Day or Arbor Day and Earth Day, NASA Globe Observer trees. But this one meets the it really meets the need for this project was developed by the great folks at NASA and Globe with education and great science in mind. So we can feel confident in kind of adding it to our classrooms. And next slide, I wonder if oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, there's the page on SciStarter with the project goal and things like that. And it's neat I always like to share with students of all ages, 1 acre. So like my backyard is an acre. So I don't know, that size is I can kind of visualize that. 1 acre of a forest can sequester more than a ton of carbon in a year. So forests are really one of nature's most powerful, efficient ecosystems for capturing and storing atmospheric carbon, which a lot of times, like in science programs, we hear that called carbon sequestration, but it's capturing and storing atmospheric carbon, which helps us. So NASA and Globe have put this together for all of us to get together. We can explore Earth's carbon cycle as we study trees, study and document trees. And so you'll kind of see, well, it's probably it's too small to read, but one of the key things that we're looking for that they want us to document is tree height, which is so simple for any age of learner. I like simple. It's a great indicator, visual indicator of an ecosystem's ability to grow trees. So tracking trees and forest changes over time can help estimate that biomass of an area. And of course, that's a good science vocabulary word, but all it is the total mass of organisms, critters in a given space, living things in a given space. So this is going to really give greater insight into carbon storage quantities across the world's forests. And this will definitely add to the scientific understanding of the role of trees in managing those global carbon budgets, so to speak. So it's really neat. And of course, with NASA being involved, they have satellites flying out there in space who are taking data from an aerial view at a bird's eye. Well, not a bird wouldn't go that high, but you know what I mean, from the aerial view. And then we on the ground, the citizen scientists of the world, we would help take measurements from the ground of tree height. And so by compiling that massive data set from the satellites, as well as all of us on the ground with the mobile app, taking pictures, reporting observations, that's gonna, gather a massive, powerful data set to provide the most accurate measurements of forest ecosystems. And I mean, that could help, with that could determine like areas to preserve, so much. So with your students, they'll be engaged in cutting edge scientific research that could yield, will yield greater understanding of our planet, its dynamic interconnected systems. So just exciting stuff. I mean, I feel like sometimes a broken record, but I always say with citizen science, I've never heard students say, why are we doing this? Like maybe they do for busy work or a worksheet, because I mean, they get it. It's real. They're making a difference. They're contributing. They're collaborating with NASA. So it's easy to get that buy-in, which is nice. Next slide. And here's the education page. The Globe Observer, NASA Go, NASA Globe Observer suite of projects are all, this is a jumping off point for all of them, kind of an at a glance, how to use it. They're so great to do real world science in the classroom because they were built with science and education in mind. So lots of connections that you can do with the trees for Arbor Day and beyond, because that carbon, which trees are, they can help with that, but that carbon, that sea that's out there, it's always on the move. From atmosphere to plants. I know one of my favorite, I can't remember when I learned it, but like when I heard that lightning in the sky can help bring nitrogen to the soil and then plants use it, I was like mind blown. So all of the stuff, all of the cycles are so interconnected, but carbon is always on the move. Of course, it can go from atmosphere to plants, plants to animals, organisms to the land, to the atmosphere, fossil fuels, definitely to the atmosphere. So even though, for the project, you're reporting certain things with that carbon connection and trees, you can connect it to a lot of aspects of the science curriculum. So you can connect trees and carbon, show how trees grow by adding biomass, and carbon's a key component in building that biomass. I always like to start asking students, like, what are some of the quote unquote sources and sinks of carbon in our area? So sinks would absorb more carbon that is given off. So forests would be a great example. The ocean, and then carbon sources, they're going to emit more carbon than it is absorbed. So like the combustion of fossil fuels would be an example of a source. So it's neat for them to start identifying that, in their own geographic area. And then they can start thinking about different times of the year. Are sources and sinks going to have the same impact in the fall, spring, winter? In what way? This is great for Earth Day and Arbor Day, how might human activities contribute to atmospheric carbon levels? Because we can really make a difference. I know for me, one thing that I'm pleased about is I'm not flying as much because of the world that we live in right now. And so that's helped me reduce my carbon footprint, which makes me happy. I feel more responsible that way. And then, of course, it's always fun to ask students, what are some steps that we can take to minimize, our carbon impact, our carbon footprint? And I always love opening things up to students because they're so creative and they always have ideas that I didn't even think of. So just lots of ways to engage your students in real world science, collaborate with NASA on a global science project, and discover concepts and connections related to Earth systems. It's one of the other reasons I love citizen science, not only about, taking action, doing real science, making a difference, but we do have to cover a lot of science content. And so you can often use a project to really get students interested and excited, and then they're ready for the other stuff. So you can kind of, get to a lot of other deep science content after they've gone through a great citizen science project. So that's always great. Next slide. Yeah, so I thought I would take us on a Earth Day, Arbor Day virtual field trip. I wish we could hike together. That would be fun. Just to show, so I teach online at Southern New Hampshire University. So we've got online non-science majors, science majors. And so they're all across the country. Some are, on military bases overseas. They're all over. But we've found different ways to engage students in real world science, a lot of times using citizen science with all of those audiences. But you really can do real world science with your distributed learners of any age with the help of technology. So we can do some things that are a green way to learn for our online remote distributed learners. And so I thought I would just share a little example. This is the entry to our SNU Arboretum, SNHU Arboretum. It only opened in 2016, so it's kind of new. Of course, the forest has been there for a long time. The SNU campus is 300 acres. So we do have a residential campus with students. Most of our learners, I think we're up to 180,000 learners online. So we do have a 300-acre campus, and the Arboretum consists of 24 acres of native forest and wetland ecosystems right on the campus. So it only launched in 2016, but we thought, how can we open this space up, not only to the community, we've, Girl Scouts, community groups, but also college students, both on campus and online. And so this can be a helpful example of what anyone can do now that we all find ourselves in this situation. So what we've kind of done over the years is kind of put technology tools throughout this forest, like digital cameras, sensors, and that's really helped enable authentic abiotic and biotic student research. They can do investigations, monitoring programs, lots of great stuff. So next slide. And here's just a fall view of part of campus. It's even the part that's not part of the Arboretum's forest. It's a heavily treed campus, very different from where I live on the tall grass prairie in North Texas. So it's lots of trees, it's neat, and it's beautiful in the fall, of course, the fall foliage. So that kind of gives a sense of place. Next slide. Yeah, and here's a view of campus. Again, in the background, you can definitely see it's very forested. One of the research projects that we've been doing, all of those little things in the ground, it's our milkweed project. And so we've got some folks on campus that helped with that, what you see, like physically doing that. And then all of the data are shared online in a database. And so that opens it up. You know, we've got it visually recorded, we've got it quantitatively recorded. So there's so much that our online learners can do with this project that they don't have to physically touch it. So really, I think I just thought I'd share as an analogy, really think about the resources that you and your team have access to. You know, your learners are distributed. Some learners will have access to things. So some learners will have a forest or a creek behind the house to do science, to do awesome citizen science. So that's awesome. You know, others may not, but if you have an outdoor learning center, a nature center, or a teacher who has access to a park, or I know in Texas, a lot of teachers, myself included, we have family land. Have fun and get creative. Like you can go out to the outdoor, and in fact, I've seen some districts in Texas doing this. They're going out to their outdoor learning center, they're using technology, and they're bringing that to all of the learners who don't have access to you know, a backyard creek or a forest in the backyard, for them to do science of all kinds. It really keeps the options open for different learners as well as different interests too. So just kind of to plant, not, no pun intended, plant that seed in everyone's mind. Just have fun with it and get creative. Think about on your team, who has access to what, and what technology could you use to bring the experience of that place to all of your learners who are currently distributed. Even if it's just like yesterday, I'm filming the monarch life cycle for a local 4th grade class. So it can be as simple as that. Next slide. Here's another project we've had fun with. Students can map. The older students can really get into ArcGIS. That's so above my head what they can do. And then I've gotten kind of nerdy for the aerial drones. We got a grant earlier this year. And you can get a really good drone for like $200, $300. And that thing can fly around and give amazing bird's eye visuals of your forest or other habitats. So students can start doing land use studies, and they don't have to be there. They're just getting that feed from whatever technology you deploy. They can map trails, look at change over time. So images, anything that can come through technology can be analyzed, and you know, it can be a project for a student to really dig into. So just another example. Next slide. Here's a view of one of our databases, and the director of our Arboretum, he's amazing. He's been behind this. So any data that you can get from your technology tools deployed throughout whatever habitat, like the campus habitat is predominantly a forest, a little bit of wetland as well. Your distributed learners will benefit. This gives that increased access to research and authentic research and learning opportunities. What we found with things like this, citizen science, any data, because even the citizen science projects all have historical data you can access, it's going to extend what would be a physical campus in this example to the global learning community. So it really opens up collaborative research opportunities for us that we've seen between campus and online students and even beyond. So learners can access that tools, the technology related to, you know, you can see on here like weather, climate, aquatic sensors. We've got camera traps and a lot more that are generating that scientific data that you can do so much with. The sky's the limit. Next slide. Oh, thanks, Linda. Yep, definitely. I should have brought the videos from Mike too. He's getting some neat videos. And this is one from last summer. This is on campus. There has been one sighting of a bear, but he didn't make it to the camera trap. So camera trap studies, there are a lot of citizen science projects you can join that are cam trap studies. eMammal, Snapshot Safari, Wild Cam Gorongosa, students love that one. There's so many others. Those are just 3 examples. But with tools and databases, students really can access and conduct meaningful research. So yeah, this was one on our little campus forest. A beautiful deer walked by and triggered the camera. And so when we have collections of these, we can learn more about, well, when is that animal active and what trails are it active on? And, what does it look like? What interactions is it having? What is it eating? So many different questions, which is great. One thing that we're excited about with our grant, I'm so excited. We've got a new wetland monitoring system, and it's equipped with solar panels. So that's, good for, being responsible with energy. So any tools that you can get your hands on and deploy in an outdoor learning area. And again, since we're pivoting pretty quick this spring with changes, that could be a teacher's, backyard. Whatever you have access to, it's all good. Also partner. There are a lot of like zoos, museums, nature centers. They would love to collaborate with you. I know one of our local nature centers, they already have cam traps deployed. And so how great would that be to just kind of collaborate with them and say, hey, can we share that with our learners right now? And boom, you've got authentic science going on. And then of course, projects such as eMammal and the others, those images are also available. So the like eMammal, you can participate with your own cam traps, but you also have access to all of the online images. There's some neat things that you can do with that. It's pretty neat. And that's associated with the Smithsonian too, which is great. And I should mention one thought with this, and again, Mike, the director of the Arboretum, this new Arboretum, he's amazing. One thought that he has is kind of in discussion about is creating an eco-STEM network. So this has been a great experience for us here, but what if, some of the local schools also have that same technology on their campus? And what if there was a network of school sites, across the country, maybe across the world, and maybe they're measuring, with digital sensors and cameras, a bunch of abiotic and biotic components or aspects. They're pulling in data about weather, critters, things like that. So what if there was an eco-STEM network all over where we're all monitoring a specific site that's relevant to us in a shared database? So some really exciting possibilities. That's just one example. Next slide. Oh, and I have to mention, so back to the global goals. So global goal 14, life below water, global goal 15, life on land. Just reminding everyone, if you participate in the City Nature Challenge, which really in your time zone, 12:01 tonight, just after midnight, it starts in your time zone. You can get started, and it's basically this year it's a backyard BioBlitz because we're stay close to home, stay safe. BioBlitz, anything that's in any area you can safely survey and pop it up on iNaturalist. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But the really cool thing too, just to connect with tonight's discussion about the global goals, the SDGs, is that if you and your students do the City Nature Challenge, you are actually addressing targets of 2 global goals right there. And then actually, when I started thinking about it, you're actually doing 3. You're also hitting global goal 17, which is partnerships for the goals, because the City Nature Challenge is global. So it's a locally engaged, globally connected effort with lots of partnerships. So really by doing a fun activity, you're adding to great, really important science, documenting biodiversity around our globe, and you're hitting 2, actually 3 global goals. So pretty powerful stuff when you're having fun. It's a win-win. Next slide. Oh, and I had to, with Earth Day, Arbor Day, I have got to share with you the Lorax. I'll let you guys read that, but thank you guys for being the ones who care and make a difference. I am always, it gives me goosebumps thinking about this global community of citizen scientists and educators. So just thank you guys for being interested and really making a difference in this world and sharing that with your audiences, your students, your family, everything. It's really what citizen science is all about, coming together to make a positive difference in this world through science, all are welcome to join and get involved, wherever they are. So had to share the Lorax, a place that I used to work. Every Earth Day, somebody would wear a Dr. Seuss hat and read the Lorax. So I always think about this every Earth Day. Next slide. Yeah, so thank you all. We ended about 10 minutes early tonight. Leave time for questions. And then I should share, since next week is April 30th, we've got another, it's our last one for the Global Citizen Science Month. We have a webinar next week. I've got a Google Doc started with some projects that we didn't cover in our 4 earlier webinars that are a great fit for the classroom. But we're so excited because we've got special guests from the Nat Geo education team, some other folks coming to share share great ideas, thoughts, and projects with the group. So just wanted to share that with everybody, that'll take place next Thursday. And any questions, we can open it up to the group.
While people put their questions in, I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you all, because of course City Nature Challenge this weekend, and we're all so excited about it. If you already have an iNaturalist username, you can go to your SciStarter dashboard, so scistarter.org/dashboard. And this is assuming you have an iNaturalist username and you're a registered SciStarter user. You can go to your info and settings. And right here, you can put your iNat username in this affiliation integration area, and you'll be able to keep track of your iNaturalist contributions, the number and frequency of them in your SciStarter dashboard. So just I enjoy, like, in my dashboard, just like for my own sake as a participant, keeping track of the stats I've contributed to different projects. So let's see, let me find something that will be impressive, like stall catchers. I do stall catchers quite a bit. So I have 153 contributions that I can keep track of in my SciStarter dashboard. So yeah, let's see what questions people have.
That is awesome, Caroline. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know, and that's really great. Like for all of us who teach, like for students too, I always encourage my students, sign up for that, because you're right, the tracking is exciting. And yes, she's so good at stall catchers. You're so good.
It's so much fun. Yeah, if you all haven't tried it, it's not on the Earth Day theme as much, but I think it still addresses the UN global goals, the health one specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great point. In fact, I'll probably pop, for next week's resources, stall catchers is a great one. Middle schoolers, they won a citizen science trophy for accelerating scientific research on Alzheimer's because they're expert gamers. But you're right, that connects back too. Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions from anybody, or any final thoughts as we leave you until next Thursday? Anyone doing the City Nature Challenge this weekend?
Oh, we've got a question from Jonathan. What would I need to do to register? Oh, great question, Jonathan. So actually, if you'd like, they may have it posted. Usually they post it really early. So on citynaturechallenge.org, that's kind of like the main stopping point for the main website for the event. There's usually a link. It's usually towards the bottom of the page, and it links to a Google form where you just say, yes, I am interested in adding my region to the City Nature Challenge for next year. Then you'll be part of it. And then usually the fall, so probably fall of 2020 this year, planning for 2021, there will be it's almost not monthly, but reoccurring meetings that you'll be invited to. It's really fun. People from all over the world, and they give options for they'll hold multiple calls in a week just to accommodate everybody's time zone. Then you'll be part of the fun. So yeah, so watch the citynaturechallenge.org website. There's always a link to, indicate interest, fill out the form, and then that adds you to the email invites to start coming to the meetings. And that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see that just continue to grow. Great question. But the cool thing is, even if you want to, you can, do a backyard BioBlitz with iNaturalist if you like anytime. So you don't have to wait in that way. Yeah, thanks. Oh, Catherine, great question. In fact, Caroline, do you know, is last week's recording somewhere, or will that be, we'll do a blog?
Yeah, I've been a little delinquent with that, and I'm so sorry, everybody. We have a blog in the works, and we're gonna put out all 4 posts, all 4 recordings so far in a blog post and on YouTube. And then next week we have our last Sci Month education webinar with Jill, and we'll add that to the blog post as well.
Oh, great. And no, you have not been delinquent. You've been so busy. She's amazing. No, I don't know how you juggle it all.
We love Zoom. If I know how to do one thing in this world, it's use Zoom.
Well, that is an important talent. Oh, great, Amy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll be happy to. Yep, awesome. Is anybody doing the City Nature Challenge? I saw I saw Linda mention she is, and she's on Team DFW. I'm having trouble. I was reminding myself earlier when I was getting excited about it starting the City Nature Challenge. I was like, Jill, it's not a competition. But whenever I see those bars on the INAT site of who's winning, like I'm already stressed out because, you know, all of like Australia, they're already ahead of us. And I'm like, Jill, it is not a competition. It's supportive collaboration. It's all good. It'll be fun. Well, excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and spending the evening with us and talking Earth Day and Arbor Day. And we're grateful to the work that you guys do. And let us know if we can help anytime. We love hearing from folks. And yeah, thanks again. Have a great evening and a great soon to be weekend too.
Awesome. And if you all want more online events before next week's last education webinar with Jill, you can find those at SciStarter.org/events. There are tons of events happening every day.
Great tip, Caroline. I know I've wanted to go to all of them and then, you know, work gets in the way, but yeah, there's so many great ones. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Awesome.
Yay. And the recordings are mostly on YouTube as well. We're working on getting all of them up there. So thank you so much to Jill for yet another inspiring presentation. I can't wait for next week. And actually, if you're willing, I'd love to see some of your iNaturalist observations from this year's City Nature Challenge at the beginning of next week's webinar, if you're down.
Oh, definitely. Oh, the pressure's on. Absolutely. I'm in.
I'll share some of mine too.
Perfect.
Part of the collaborative aspect.
Yes, I love it. Oh, you're on a great team, Team DC. Are you in DC right now?
I am. I'm in Washington, DC.
Oh, that's a fun team. Oh, awesome. I can't wait. Yeah, you guys have great observations. I love watching all of them.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jill, and goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
Yep, thanks. Good night.